everybody, welcome back. This is Kim. I'm so glad you clicked on this video. I haven't done a video in a couple days, so today it's going to be about basically gig workers, mileage, and car expenses, and how you should deal with that whole situation. There's a lot more to this topic than you may think, so yeah, I hope you watch the whole video. Anyways, let's get going. I'll trying to make this as quick as I can. Okay, so delivery driver car expenses. Every single mile you put on your car will cost you money, not just gas. Delivery drivers put a lot of miles on their cars. Make sure you get compensated. You need to keep track of expenses or you'll overpay on taxes. I am not a tax expert, so I want to say this up front. Please do your own research and talk to a tax expert about these things, but this is what I am currently doing and the information that I am using personally. The information I'm sharing is my interpretation of things, and this may or may not pertain to your situation. Okay? So now we got that out of the way. So there's two different ways you can take deductions for your taxes. So you can either get a mile reimbursement or actual expenses. So you either track every single expense and writing off a percentage of that, or you get paid a certain amount for every mile. So there's two different ways you can deduct your mileage and car expenses on your taxes. You're the only one that can determine which route is best to take, and I'm going to kind of go over both so you can get an idea how they work. So in 2021, the per mile rate you can deduct is 56 cents. So you simply calculate the miles driven for your gig work, and multiply it by 56 cents. And that's how much you can write off on your taxes. If you go the actual mile route, then you must have record of everything: gas, maintenance, repairs, registration, insurance, taxes, car payments, every single thing. And you also still need to track your mileage. So this is more involved, and you may not necessarily get more of a deduction by going this route. So can you deduct expenses and mileage? No. You have to pick one or the other. So you either get paid the 56 cents per mile, which is what the federal government has estimated should cover gas, maintenance, etc. on your car. Does it all the time? Probably not, but for some people, I think it really does. Before I forget, I would ask you to please subscribe. I would appreciate that. I know a lot of you already have, so I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much. Okay, so you must pick actual expenses or the mileage reimbursement, one or the other. Regardless, you need to track mileage. You will need this number. So you're going to need to know how many miles you drove in 2021 or whatever year total for your gig work. Not personal miles, but just while you're working. Usually the mileage reimbursement adds up to a higher deduction, but your situation may be different. So I strongly suggest you talk to a tax expert before deciding which route to go. For the first year, I suggest you keep track of all expenses and your mileage. That way you have all the information needed to make an educated choice at the end of the year when it's time to do taxes. So, what miles should you track? Well, it doesn't matter if you're taking the standard mileage tax deduction or doing the actual expense method, you need to track your miles. I know a lot of you don't, but you should. Now, you can only deduct the business mileage, not your personal miles. When you leave your house to start delivering, start tracking. Stop tracking when you get back home. If you stop at the grocery store on your way home, stop tracking when you get to the store, because now you're doing something personal. You're no longer working, you're no longer willing to accept delivery, so you need to turn off the tracking. You can track any miles when you have the apps open and you are willing to accept deliveries. So that intention of delivering is what the difference is here. Just because you have your app on, if you're not willing to take any deliveries, then you can't deduct that mileage. You have to have your app on and be willing to take deliveries. That's the key, your intent to accept deliveries. If you drive to get your car oil change or get new tires, I believe you can also count those miles driving to the place where you're going to get your car serviced. Any mileage that is business related specifically can be counted, but no personal amount at all. No personal, you're running to pick your kids up from school. You can't count those miles. You only need to track the total business miles per day and the reason for driving. As a gig worker, your reason is food delivery, obviously. You don't need to write down each trip that day, just an overall number. Like, I went 75 miles today, October 20th, whatever the date is. I went this many miles, and I was doing food delivery. And that's it. You can write down your beginning odometer and your ending odometer. You can take pictures of your beginning odometer and your ending odometer, whatever. So, tracking miles. According to the IRS website, IRS compliant mileage report should have the following items: date of the trip, where you drove. You don't need details, like I said. You just need to say, I drove around town delivering, whatever. Your purpose of the trip was food delivery, and your total miles driven. That's all you need. You don't need to document each trip, like I said. Just summarize by the day. You can write them down in a little notebook, take photos of your odometer, like I said, at the beginning and the end of each day. Use an app. I use the Stride app. I really like it. I don't know that it's 100% accurate, but I think it's close enough, and it's easier than trying to remember to write everything down. So I just turn it on when I get in the car, and when I'm done, I just turn the app off. And it keeps track for you, and you can go back and look at things, by day or whatever, or a summary. It's really a cool app, and it's free. Can you just make it up? Can you just make the mileage up saying, I'm going to say I went this far? Well, the answer is no, because you're going to need documentation to prove your numbers if you're audited. If they come back and say, hey, I want to see all your records from your deliveries. How did you determine you went 14,000 miles last year? I want to see how you got that. You need to have documentation to prove it. Keep your maintenance records handy, because they'll have the date and the odometer readings, so that'll at least give you different threshold time spots. Like, okay, in March I had this many miles on the car, and in June I had this many miles on the car. So if you only added 2,000 miles to the car, but yet you're saying you drove 7,000 miles, something's fishy there. So you need to make sure that your numbers match and that they're accurate. If you forget to track for a day or two, it'd probably be okay to use the average of a few other delivery days, but be careful. Without documentation, you could be in trouble. And if you did this, 5 or 6 times a year, it's not a big deal. But if more than half of every month you're just guessing, that's not good. I also read that you can use Google Maps data to see everywhere you've driven, which is kind of scary that they keep all that. But anyways, look to see if you have tracking turned on. If you do, you'll have a record of where you've driven. So you open Google Maps and click. This is on your phone itself. Open Google Maps and click on your photo, or it might be the little hamburger menu with the 3 little lines. Mine, it was under when you click on my picture, and then choose your timeline. And then down there, you'll have location history either on or off. Mine was off, so I don't have anything to show you, but if it was on, you'll have a list of all the places you've gone by date and everything. So that's useful also, if you want that information on there. Like I said, mine's turned off. And this is where you turn it on or off. It's just a little slide bar thing. So there's other deductions you may have, regardless of whether you do the actual expense option or the federal mileage reimbursement deduction. These are only for your vehicle expenses. And I just realized I didn't really explain the actual expense option completely. You need to keep every single receipt of everything. So like I said, it's your insurance, your gas, your maintenance, everything that pertains to your car, because you're going to be able to deduct a percentage of all that. So you need to have exact numbers. I'm not sure if I said that or not. Anyways, okay. So you will have other business expenses that you can deduct. So you need to track those too. So the vehicle is one item, but you're going to also have other things like your phone, any equipment that you purchase, like if you bought bags or if you bought, a cooler to keep in the trunk or something. PPE equipment, personal protective equipment, like masks, if you bought hand sanitizer to keep in your car, that sort of thing. Business-related parking and tolls are also deductible. So if you pay for parking, hopefully you don't pay for parking to do food delivery because that would really cut into your profits, but that's also deductible. So like I said, talk to your tax experts. They'll tell you exactly what is and what is not deductible, but this is what I've pretty much figured out. So once again, I'm not a tax professional. These are just the things that I am personally doing. I have tried to research to find official info, but it's not always easy, and some sites contradict what the other ones say. So that's why I think you need to talk to a tax professional. I personally asked our CPA for suggestions for my situation. I suggest you do the same thing. Contact a tax specialist who is familiar with your situation and listen to what they suggest. How to document things, etc. What's deductible, what's not, that sort of thing. Anyways, did you learn anything from this video? I hope so. I hope it encourages you to keep better records so that you can keep more of your money at the end of the year. The more you have to deduct, the less that you're going to have to pay in taxes. So that's a good thing. Please comment below with any questions, comments, or advice for others. And also, if you have any information that I incorrectly stated, please put that information down below, because as far as I know, everything I said was accurate, and I hope that's the case. And once again, thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. That's fantastic. So I hope you're out there staying safe, staying healthy, and making lots of money, and I'll see you next time.